Welcome to Cinema Bites, your go-to for movie recaps in a flash. Big twists, epic moments, all in just minutes. Our story Tekken begins in the distant future, where a company called Tekken has taken over the entire world due to its power and terrifying weapons. After that, we meet the young man Jin. Jin was running away from a group of criminals in the streets of an American city because they wanted to kill and rob him. He used his high physical abilities to evade them quickly, even though they were armed. After a long chase, Jin was about to escape, but he was surprised by a group of Tekken company officers who appeared and started shooting at the criminals for breaking the law. He hid in seconds before the officers noticed him, and as soon as the shooting ended, he quietly sneaked into one of the abandoned cities to meet his dear friend Bonner. Bonner is a dangerous hacker, and as soon as Jin saw him, he gave him a very expensive tech device he had stolen from Tekken's labs. Bonner was amazed by his skills and revealed that he needed this device to spy on the upcoming Iron Fist martial arts tournament that Tekken would soon organize. Then he gave Jin a large sum of money for his efforts and said he might need his help soon. Jin thanked him and went on his way, but as he was heading home, he accidentally saw Heihachi on television. Heihachi is the head of the Tekken company that controls the world and announced the start of the Iron Fist martial arts tournament, revealing that he would grant any wish to the winning fighter. Jin then went to the city restaurant to rest from exhaustion, and here we learn that everything in the world is destroyed because Jin spent more than $300 just to buy some coffee and a single orange. When his friends saw him, they told him to enter the Iron Fist tournament to win it and save their poor city because he is a strong fighter. Jin ignored them and continued on his way. Later, he returned home to his mother, Jin. Jin is an expert in martial arts and a kung fu master. She had taught Jin how to fight since he was young. As soon as Jin saw her, he gave her the orange and coffee as a gift and asked her to let him participate in the Iron Fist tournament to prove his strength, but she refused because she was afraid for him. Jin argued with her because she treated him like a child and because she never told him who his real father was, always saying he died before Jin was born. Jin shouted at her and left, walking the street. Meanwhile, Heihachi, the head of Tekken, met with his son Kazuya and told him to keep an eye on the criminals in the city because many people wanted to sabotage the Iron Fist tournament. But Kazuya was upset with his father because he didn't want him to inherit Tekken after his death, yet he obeyed his orders and gathered all the soldiers. He then attacked Bonner, Jin's friend, saying he had been secretly following him the whole time. As soon as he found out that Jin was the one who stole from Tekken, he killed Bonner in cold blood. He then ordered his soldiers to raid Jin's house without warning and attacked his poor mother. Jin was shocked when he heard the chaos and ran to save his mother, but before he could enter the house, he was surprised by a missile that destroyed the whole place. He was deeply saddened because he knew his mother died because he stole from Tekken. While searching the rubble, he found a picture of himself as a child with his mother and remembered when she used to train him in martial arts. He was also shocked when he found her old work ID and realized she had been an employee at Tekken, so he decided to enter the Iron Fist Championship and win it in order to expose Madi and know his real father. At first, Jin went to the largest illegal fighting ring to challenge Law, who is the strongest fighter in the whole city. If Jin wins, he would qualify for the Iron Fist tournament. The fight organizer, Steve, mocked him and said that Law would crush him in seconds. When Jin saw Law fighting in front of him, he was terrified because Law is a professional kung fu master in the deadly dragon style. But Jin gathered his courage and finally entered the ring. At the start of the match, Law easily dominated Jin because he was afraid of him. But Jin encouraged himself and used some secret techniques he learned from his mother to get back into the fight, impressing the audience with his high skill. Here, we find out that Heihachi and his son Kazuya were also watching Jin and admiring his strength. Although Law was strong and pressured Jin throughout the match, Jin remembered his mother's training and managed to defeat Law with difficulty to qualify for the Iron Fist tournament in the end. Steve, the fight organizer, was impressed by his amazing strength and said he would become his new manager for 20% of the profits. Jin agreed because Steve was smart and could help him. Then, the story shifts to Heihachi scolding his son Kazuya for being careless and uninterested in Tekken, ordering him to prepare for the tournament's opening with great anger because they didn't respect him. Kazuya obeyed and gathered all his men to talk to them about the fighters who would participate in the Iron Fist tournament. Among these fighters are Eddie Gordo, the Brazilian capoeira master, Yoshimitsu, the famous Japanese swordsman with the iron arm, and Brian Fury, the ruthless Russian boxer. Meanwhile, Steve and Jin finally arrived at the Iron Fist tournament arena after hours of travel. Steve told Jin to prepare to fight with all his might because the tournament included the world's strongest martial arts professional. Jin listened to Steve and went with him because the tournament was about to start, and the fighters would soon appear before the audience. But when Jin saw the other participants, he was shocked because they all wanted to defeat him except for one girl named Christy, who greeted him and said she had seen his impressive fight against Law. Jin thanked her. After that, the competitors entered the tournament arena to greet the audience. Heihachi, the head of Tekken, and his son Kazuya were present. Even Jin was greatly impressed because it was his first time standing before so many people. The first match of the tournament began between Raven, the Canadian Muay Thai professional, and Eddie, the Brazilian capoeira master. At the start of the fight, Eddie used the fast head movements of capoeira to control the fight, but over time, Raven studied his weakness and used devastating Muay Thai strikes to win the match. The second match was between Miguel, the Spanish boxer, and Jin, the American Kung Fu master. Steve gave Jin some advice to counter Miguel because he used to be a boxer. Jin thanked him and went to challenge his opponent. From the beginning of the fight, Kazuya kept mocking Jin because he was still a beginner, while Heihachi encouraged him because he felt he was talented. After a long fight, Miguel, the Spanish boxer, completely dominated his opponent due to his high experience. When Jin was about to lose, he remembered that he must win at any cost to avenge his deceased mother. He also used Steve's advice to determine all of Miguel's weaknesses and managed to break his leg, but Jin ignored him and said his goal was to meet Heihachi, the head of Tekken, to ask him some important questions. Kazuya became angry with Jin for his disrespect and searched for him in the database all night until he found out he was the son of Jun, the former company employee, which shocked him greatly. As soon as Jin was resting in his room after his fight with Miguel, he was surprised when the lights went out, and two unknown assassins tried to kill him, but fortunately, Christy heard his voice by chance and broke into the room before he died, but he was severely injured. Steve came to check on him, and here Jin revealed that his mother used to work at the Tekken company long ago. Steve said she was one of the strongest fighters, but she turned against the company because of how they harmed the weak. He told Jin to run away because he would arrest him if he found out he was Jun's son, but Jin insisted he had to reach Heihachi, the head of the Tekken company, to find out who his real father was. Then, we discover that the assassins who tried to kill Jin are Nina and her sister Anna, Kazuya's personal bodyguards. As soon as Kazuya learned they failed their mission, he gave Brian Fury, the Russian boxer, $1 million to kill Jin if he met him in the tournament. He also lied to his father, Heihachi, and convinced him that Jin was fine, even though he was injured from the assassin's attack. That's why Jin qualified for a match against Yoshimitsu, the ruthless Japanese swordsman. When Steve saw the injury on his hand, he gave him the gloves he used in boxing before he retired. Jin thanked him for the help and prepared to fight. But before the match started, Kazuya revealed to his father that he would betray him to take control of the Tekken company for himself and ordered the soldiers to arrest him. Meanwhile, Jin prepared to fight Yoshimitsu. When he first saw him, he was terrified by his huge modern armor, but he gathered his strength and grabbed a weapon to defend himself. At the start of the battle, Yoshimitsu dominated Jin because he had studied ninja secrets in Japan and became a master of the katana. He also broke Jin's weapon with his tremendous strength. Clever Jin took advantage of Yoshimitsu's overconfidence, as he thought he would win easily, and tricked him into dropping his sword. Then the two began fighting hand to hand. In the middle of the fight, Kazuya revealed to Heihachi that he was Jin's real father because he had secretly married Jun when she worked at the Tekken company. Heihachi attacked the soldiers fiercely and ordered security to distract the guards and save his only grandson, but he failed to escape and was captured. Jin barely managed to gather his strength when he remembered his beloved mother and was able to defeat Yoshimitsu with a devastating punch that knocked him out. Amid the chaos caused by the security alarm, Christy and Steve managed to save the severely injured Jin, but it was no use, as the soldiers eventually surrounded them and captured them all. At first, Kazuya put all the tournament fighters, including the injured Jin, inside iron cages and announced that he had changed the rules. All upcoming matches would be to the death. Jin said they had to escape this cursed place to survive. As the guards were closing the cages, Raven, the fighter, attacked them fiercely, and Jin and his friends took the opportunity to escape. But the guards didn't leave them alone. Heihachi promised Jin he would reveal all the hidden secrets if he freed him. In the end, Steve, Christy and Jin escaped with Heihachi from Kazuya and his soldiers. After that, Christie took advantage of their safety to treat Jin's deep wounds, but suddenly Heihachi appeared and asked to speak to Jin alone. At first, Heihachi explained to Jin that his mother was one of the strongest fighters at the Tekken company, but she retired after discovering his real father was Kazuya, Heihachi's son. He told Jin he must defeat his father to take over the Tekken company for himself. But before Heihachi could finish, Kazuya and his men attacked the place and destroyed everything in their path. Brave Steve tried to defend his friends to his last breath, but his efforts were in vain as he was killed. Kazuya's men took Christie and Jin hostage to force them to fight in the Iron Fist tournament against their will. Then Kazuya told his father he would take over the Tekken company for himself and ordered his guards to kill Heihachi in cold blood. Heihachi faced his end without fear, like a lion. The next morning, Kazuya announced the start of the Iron Fist tournament finals and revealed to the audience that the matches would be to the death to determine the winner. The first match in the finals was between Dragunov, the Serbian Special Operations Officer, and Brian Fury, the Russian boxer. At the start of the battle, Dragunov managed to injure Brian with an iron spear, but Brian endured the injury, grabbed Dragunov, and crushed him mercilessly. Then he strangled him with an iron chain and finished him off completely to win the fight. Meanwhile, Kazuya went to Jin and told him to get ready to fight Brian Fury in the tournament final, but Jin refused to listen. Kazuya took Christie hostage and told Jin that if he didn't fight, he would kill her. Raven saw everything happening silently, and as soon as Kazuya left, he told Jin to be brave, as he had to win the tournament to take over the Tekken company. Otherwise, Kazuya would use his power to harm many innocent people. Jin gathered his strength and prepared for the decisive battle against Brian Fury. From the start, Jin was shocked by the strength of Brian's punches, which sent him flying. He also discovered Brian's body was implanted with an iron shield that made him immune to blows. Brian grabbed Jin and beat him mercilessly, and was about to finish him off, but Jin remembered his mother and his friend Steve, who were killed treacherously, and decided to win at any cost to avenge them. Then he targeted Brian's head, as it was the only part of his body without an iron shield. When Brian was stunned by the blows, Jin climbed to the highest point in the ring and delivered a powerful strike that broke Brian's neck, winning the Iron Fist tournament. Kazuya was furious at the failure of his plan and grabbed 2 iron axes to fight Jin face to face to determine who would take over the Tekken company. Unfortunately, Jin couldn't defend himself because he was exhausted from fighting Brian Fury, and since Kazuya was armed with 2 iron axes, he easily defeated Jin. But before he could finish him off, Christie quickly distracted the guards and fired her guns, distracting Kazuya. Jin seized the opportunity and defeated Kazuya in seconds, but refused to kill him because he was his father. Then Christie arrived and announced that Jin was the winner of the Iron Fist tournament and the new head of the Tekken company because he was Heihachi's only grandson and had defeated his father in a fair fight in front of everyone. That's a summary of the. Subscribe for more updates.